Hello everyone, my name is Becca and welcome to Yellow Cat Studios. For today's video, I am going to get started on my Winter Soldier cosplay. I've been wanting to do this for a while and I'm finally getting started on it, so for this video, I'm going to be making his mask and the metal arm. And then in my next video, I'm going to be doing everything else and the finished cosplay. So with that being said, let's get started on the mask. So I'm going to start with the mask for the Winter Soldier. I'm going to be using a combination of fabric and plaster wrap. So you can use this to make masks and stuff. Hoping it works out well, we will see. So I have a rough drawing of the side view of the mask, and I'm going to be using a styrofoam head to help me get the right shapes. So I'm going to start with the fabric portion of the mask. So I have two different fabrics. The black one is going to be the main part, and then I'm going to use this gray fabric for some detail. So I'm just going to flip this to the wrong side. So that I can draw on it and see what I'm doing. I also wanted to make it so it goes right to the ear rather than having it stop flat and use elastic around the ear. I want to try and have it so it goes right to the ear, just to have a hole that the ear can go through. So I have this all cut out, but after thinking about it, I should probably do the plaster part first, because I'm going to be doing the front kind of nose and mouth piece out of plaster. That's going to impact how the fabric needs to sit, and whether or not I need this front bit to fit. So we're going to do the plaster first. Or now, I guess. So here I'm just cutting strips of the plaster wrap and placing it on the nose and mouth area. Now I do wish I had rounded out the edges of my cardboard a little bit just so it wasn't quite so pointed, but that's okay. And I am just doing a few layers of the plaster wrap. The plaster is all dry, so hopefully it's pretty sturdy. I did, I think, 3 layers. So I'm going to take it off of the head now. The only issue with doing it this way and kind of makeshifting the right size for your face is it's not going to be perfect. So I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but it is a little bit lopsided. This one is angled out more and this one comes down in more, but that should be fine. It's actually a decent size. So what I'm gonna do, I need to trim the shape out of the sides, and I'm also going to trim away at the bottom a little bit. I think rather than having the plaster coming down under my chin, I'm gonna have just the fabric come down under my chin, just so I have a little bit of flexibility and I can still talk. But once I get the shape cut out, I think it'll actually look pretty decent. And then after I cut it, I'm going to, I think, put a layer of Mod Podge on first, just to kind of fill in some of these little holes and texture from the plaster, and then paint it. And what I'm hoping I can do is, instead of having the fabric of the mask come underneath this part, I'm hoping I can just attach the fabric to the side. We'll see if that works. It is a little flaky on the edges, but I'm hoping that's just because it's really not layered on the edges there compared to the middle and the sides. But we'll see if it keeps flaking after I cut it. I might have to have the fabric come all the way underneath it. Okay, so my plaster part is done, and I've actually done one half of the mask just to make sure I knew what I was doing. So this is what it looks like so far. This is the finished plaster piece. So after I did about 2-3 coats of black paint, I did another coat of Mod Podge. And I cut different pieces of fabric than what I originally cut. Just because I knew the fit was going to be a little bit different with this piece in the front. So that is one half. So I need to use this side to cut the hole for my ear on that one, and I actually just used high-tack craft glue to attach the fabric to the inside of my plaster piece right along the edge here. And I am going to need to put another little piece of fabric up here just so it doesn't hurt when I wear it. And then after I get the side pieces all finished, I am going to figure out a little piece to go under the chin. Just a little bit of fabric down there so that it's not just open. So I already have my second piece hemmed, and I'm just going to trace the circle. The ear parts, this part is a little bit big, so it's quite a bit out from behind my ear, but that's okay because it'll be under my wig anyways. So when I was cutting the shapes out of my fabric, I just kind of measured where, I don't know if you can hear me when I wear that. I measured like from my nose down and then up to my ear to figure out just about how much I needed and what shape I needed. So I don't really have a template for this. It's just kind of based off of measuring my own face. But I'm sure you can find templates on Etsy if that is what you're wanting to use. So I'm gonna get this side done and attached and come back to show you the rest, how I'm gonna make the rest of it. So I've got the fabric attached to the plaster piece now, and I have the silvery gray fabric cut out and pinned on, so my last step is to just sew it on. Okay, so the mask is done or almost done. I need to decide if I am going to put something along the bottom here or not. But this is what it looks like so far. It's a little bit lopsided, but that's okay. This is, however, getting put on hold because I just pierced my ear, so I can't wear the mask right now. So we're gonna move on to the arm. So I actually bought a pattern on Etsy. I will link it below. It's a relatively simple pattern. I already cut out all the pieces, so I think it's going to be pretty easy to use, so I'm very excited about that. So I bought some foam sheets from Michaels. It's relatively thin. The guy who made the pattern suggests 6mm foam. So because mine is pretty thin, I'm probably not going to carve out all of the detail lines. I'm probably just going to paint it, just because I don't think I have enough there to actually carve it. So I think my first step is to just line up all the pattern pieces on my foam and get cutting. So I've got all of my pieces on 2 sheets of foam. So I have decided to just trace it rather than pin it and cut it out like that. So I'm going to trace everything first and then cut it all out. So all of my pieces are cut out for the arm. I am going to assemble it all before I do any of the details, Mod Podge, painting, just because if I need to adjust anything after it's together, the lines aren't gonna quite line up. So I'm gonna do all of that after I assemble it. To assemble it, I'm going to use this high-tack craft glue. It seems to work really well on lots of different materials, so I think it's going to work well for the foam. So I think I'm going to start at the shoulder and work my way down. And I'm pretty sure this pattern, the arm is in 2 separate pieces. Pretty sure. So I'm going to get started on assembling. So I just got my pattern pieces next to me so that I can make sure I'm putting all the right pieces together. So I'm starting with these 2, and I'm just gonna run some glue along all of the edges and I think hold everything together with pins while it dries. So making the arm is just a lot of piecing together everything following this pattern. And fitting it so that it actually works for my arm, and then a lot of Mod Podge and painting. So my other two pieces are currently drying. This is the forearm piece so far, but I need to make it smaller. I obviously didn't size down the pattern enough when I printed it, so I'm just gonna try and make it smaller as is. This is what it looks like. I need a little bit to overlap because instead of a zipper, I'm going to use, I think, Velcro because I don't have a zipper. So I'm gonna mark where the top overlaps, and I'm gonna put a piece of Velcro right at the top on the overlap. Okay, so I have the shoulder and upper arm piece just drying. I'm just starting to attach the shoulder to the upper arm. And then I need to figure out how much overlap I need to make it actually fit. And then I think I'm going to have to kind of put a dart in the shoulder piece. So I'm gonna have to cut basically a pie shape out of this just to make it a little bit smaller because it is a bit big for my shoulder. But while that is drying the first layer of glue, I have the forearm piece. So I have my Velcro pieces all on there, and I've already done 2 coats of Mod Podge. So I think what I'm gonna do is start painting it silver. And then after I paint it silver, I can use the pattern pieces to kind of guide where all of the detail lines are gonna go. But first, to paint it shiny silver. Okay, so forearm piece is all done. So I just did the lines and kind of weathered it a little bit. So that piece is all done. The shoulder and upper arm piece I've fitted so that it actually stays and looks relatively the right size. So I did end up having to overlap the upper arm piece quite a bit. And I made a dart in the top here and did one here as well. I probably should have taken this piece in a little bit different because when it's on, this piece does stick out quite a bit. But I think it'll be okay. Once everything's on, you're not really gonna notice it. A few layers of Mod Podge. Get it all painted and get the star on the shoulder. I'll have to look at some reference photos so that I get it in the right spot. But then the arm is done. So once this piece is all painted and dry, I will show you the arm piece on. So the arm pieces are all done. I know I have this big gap here, but I have a metallic long glove that I'm going to wear underneath it. But this is what the foam pieces look like on and when they're all done. And I'm actually quite happy with how the metallic silver turned out. I think it looks quite like metal, so. I don't quite have full mobility just because how it sits on my arm, but that's fine. Yeah, so that is it for this video. I got the mask and the arm done. I have a few smaller projects for the rest of the cosplay, which I'm going to be doing in the next video. So stick around, subscribe, if you want to see the rest of this cosplay, and I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!